This is Ali. I hope all of you are doing great. Very recently, I was approached by one of our colleagues asking what would be the best way to prepare for the Step 2 CK exam. And I thought, why shouldn't I make a video out of this so that many of you at large would benefit? I do understand that many of you would already know this, but at the same time, I'm sure that it would put things into perspective for a lot of you out there. So this video is primarily intended for those students who have already taken their USMLE Step 1 and are moving on to give their USMLE Step 2. Because if you're taking the Step 2 as your first exam, then the preparation methods would be significantly different. So starting off, I'll try to keep this as short as possible. The first thing I'd like to discuss is that the Step 2 exam, the clinical knowledge exam, is significantly different from the Step 1 exam, as within the Step 1, you're focusing on the trees and not the forest. What I mean is that in your Step 1, you're focusing at the molecular level, at the pathophysiology, at ATP, at enzymes, at genetics, at physiology, whereas in Step 2 CK, it's all about the context of uh, the patient. And what do I mean by the context? What I mean is that how is the patient presenting? What is the age of the patient? Is the patient stable, unstable? Is he presenting in the ER, to the outpatient department, inpatient department? Is the patient seeking, let us say, long-term care or short-term care? We need to understand all of that as a single whole, and then move on when answering or treating the patient. So this is very, very important for your clinical knowledge exam. And once you start doing questions, you will intuitively pick up the how the question is being framed, which will definitely help you picking up the right answer. Uh, so I would strongly suggest for people who have scored well on their Step 1, and by well I mean greater than about 225, you all should be starting from your day one. Start with doing questions, and more questions from the U World Step 2 CK Bank. Uh, and this is no rocket science, everyone knows this. Why I am stressing on this though is that many people ask, should we delve into MTBs or Kaplan's or any other book for that matter? For me personally, I did not find MTBs to be useful at all. They did not contribute to my score in any way, because MTBs are repetitive. Their knowledge is something that you already know from your Step 1 and from your medical school knowledge. They're not gonna add to your score. Nothing. They're not never. They're most likely it's not gonna benefit you in any significant way. And the same thing can be said about your Kaplans. Although if you do not understand a particular topic, it's always a good idea to go back and refer to a book. For example, if you don't understand the whole management of atrial fibrillation, for example, then you might want to refer to a Kaplan or to MTBs. A significant amount of students do read the MTB 2 and 3, 2 for MTB 2 for internal medicine, and MTB 3 for your allied subjects like surgery, pediatrics, and gynecology. You may or may not want to do that. I didn't do that, and I scored well enough, about more than 240. Although there is one significant thing I'd like to add here. Uh, there is a book by Conrad Fisher. Uh, it's by the master. It's Master the Board's Internal Medicine Board Review course book. And this course book is supplementary to the MedQuest video of Conrad Fisher's. Do you need to watch the videos? I don't think so. Do you want to read this course book? Probably yes. A very quick read. This book primarily consists of many questions and subsequent summaries of the given cases. I would strongly suggest you that you just very quickly read the summaries. Do you need to do the questions? I don't think so. Just do the summaries. It's a well written, concise summary after different cases. So that pretty much covers our resources as well. Our second point, which was of resources. Do we want to uh, do any other Q banks, and there are many out there. I didn't do them. I wouldn't suggest that you do them. From the reviews that I've heard from other students, in fact, many of students did all three Q banks out there, and their scores didn't increase by much. So I just say that know you word at the back of your hand. Spend about 2.5 to 3 months on your UWorld for CK, and do it once, do it twice, know it at the back of your hand, and you'll be good to go. What score are you aiming at? It really depends on what your aim is. Uh, I would say if you're scoring somewhere around, try to get a similar score as you did in your CK, if not much better. Uh, if you're seeking for internal medicine, I'd say a 230 is a relatively safe score for your CK. Otherwise, the more you get, the better, of course. So about the NBMEs, there is no one particular NBME for your Step 2 CK, which is unlike your Step 1. Step 1 definitely had some good, very predictive NBMEs. That's not the case with CK, unfortunately. There is a lot of uncertainty with your preparation of CK, and that is normal. So that I hope it helps to reduce anxiety. The best predictor out there, if any, is the U World Self-Assessment Exam for your Step 2 CK. I'd say if you're scoring a 250 on your UWSA in your actual exam, you would be somewhere in between a 230 and a 240, right? So, so your UWSA score minus 10 to 15 points would be your actual score. So that was something very quickly on your NBMEs. The fifth point, you may or may not want to do this. I would strongly suggest it though, and I've suggested to many of my other students as well, and they've surely said great things about it, that you may want to do the UWorld for Step 3 just as an auxiliary course, just as something extra. And I don't mean to say that you go into the nitty-gritty of your Step 3 Q bank. That is absolutely not necessary. There are about 1,500 questions in the Q bank. You could easily do them, just quickly breeze through them in 10 to 15 days, and you will have a very good perspective. You will have an enhanced knowledge of your CK exam, and you don't need to be intimidated by this, because Step 3 by large is an extension of your CK. And many of you would realize that when you're doing your CK question bank, that many of the concepts that were unclear while you were studying for Step 1 would be cleared in your Step 2 preparation. And by a similar argument, when you're preparing for your Step 3, many of your Step 2 concepts would be clear. So if you're preparing for your Step 2, I'd advise that you think in advance, act cleverly, just breeze through major topics, major questions of Step 3. For example, you may want to go through subjects like cardiology, for example, pulmonology. Just focus home in on these large uh, systems, and hopefully this will definitely add to your score, and I guarantee you by at least 10 points. I hope that this helps, that this does put things into perspective, and all in all, you're looking just at 2.5 to 3 months for this exam. And I know that anxiety comes with this exam. There's a lot of uncertainty. Many people will tell you need to read this book, that book, watch these videos. I say no, just focus on your U world, just do more questions, just focus on the clinical context, and you're good to go. Best of luck to all of you. Take care. Bye bye.